my first grade students. I wanted to start a new project with you today, and we are going to be focusing on an artist by the name of Mondrian, and this is an image of him. And I wanted just to tell you a little bit about him. As an artist in his early years, he loved going outside and painting. He wanted to paint what were called landscapes, things of the land, in the land, things that he would see when he was hiking. So he put on just like almost like play clothes, and he would go hike, he'd find things and he would paint them. And so here's a couple images here. Hopefully you can see this. So he would focus on the tree trunks or boats, on houses, things that he would see along his travels. Okay, he did some self-portraits, but little by little, like if I look at this house, okay, this has a little more detail to it. If you see, I can see like the wood planking, some vines, things growing on it. And then as I look a little bit further into these houses, all right, they start being a little more solid, less detail, and more just like shapes. And so that's something that I wanted to share about Mr. Mondrian, because as he would continue going outside, he would do trees. But his trees started to take on a little bit more of a simple appearance. He stopped thinking so much about the details, and then he started thinking more about just lines and simple shapes within those areas. And today, knowing that we are in that fall season, I always think Mondrian is a great person to think about at this time. During our fall, we're noticing the trees, they're changing colors, they're dropping their leaves. And this is my inspiration for this artwork. So Mondrian, like I was saying, he was someone that loved going outside and painting, but throughout his life, his artwork took a lot of changes. He made drastic growth as to what his art was to where it went later in his life. So this picture is something that I am really attracted to. It is a fall tree. I can see the thickness of the trunk going off into thinner branches, breaking off into smaller ones, and I want you to think about that today when we start making a tree. Think about how the trunk, almost if you stand there, your legs are the trunk. Okay, put your legs together. Then the branches are your arms, and then your fingers are all those tiny little branches. Okay, so think about the thickness of a tree going up, branching off into those little areas. So today I am going to use this piece of art as my inspiration, and I am going to create my very own Mondrian tree. So I did send home a white piece of paper, and I'm going to show you two options that you could utilize the art materials you have at home with. Okay, some of you might have just markers and crayons and colored pencils, that's fine. If you might have some black paint, that would be amazing. Even if you have black construction paper, that could also work. So the same art project, just different mediums, different art materials. So I'm going to begin by writing my name. Remember, you want to show ownership for your artwork. You want to say, I created this, I made this. Be proud of your accomplishments. Now, I am going to use black paint. It doesn't matter if you only have watercolor, you could use that. If you have tempera paint, that's what I'm using. If you have acrylic paint, that would work as well. All right, and I'm going to think about my tree trunk. So I'm going to start with my tree trunk. And so I'm using paint for this portion. Okay, so I'm just gonna go and I'm trying to be nice and smooth with it. I can paint inside my trunk. So I know my trunk is going to be the thickest and largest of my tree. And then I'm going to branch off. Okay, so I have some big branches, and off my big ones I can make some medium and some smaller branches. Some might even go off my paper. If you look, your branches almost make a V or even the letter Y, depending on how you see your branches in there. Some might even look like a backwards Y. So have fun. Working on your tree. So if you just get this part done and you're using paint, we need to let them dry. All right. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make what's called the horizon. I'm making just a line. I'm not even going to paint this in. I'm just making a line with my black, and I'm going to let that sit and dry. Okay, so just do that part. I'm going to set this aside. Now I'm going to now show you if you have black construction paper. Same idea. I'm going to begin with my name. All right, and I can use black paper. I have scissors, and I can create my tree with some pieces of paper. So there's my trunk. My paper is pretty, this black, there's a lot there. It was just some scraps I had. And there's that. And I'm going to keep going and making medium or big branches to medium branches. And every tree, what's really neat is no tree is exactly the same. Even if it's the same type of tree, none of them are exactly the same. And I love thinking about that because just like trees are unique and different, so is our artwork. Everyone's artwork, everyone's tree will be a little different. Okay. So, oh, my phone is saying I'm getting low on battery, but I think I can finish my video first. There we go. So even here I have a thicker end, the thinner one would go up. Let it keep going. So I could use my paper just like that. I can also create my horizon line, that area